Hey guys, I wanted to make one more video before I called it a night, and hopefully I can keep this under 10 minutes or right about 10 minutes. There's really so much that you could say about this topic. I could go on for hours, realistically, but I think I'm going to title this video Getting into Knife Making or something similar to that. I was just kind of thinking back to when I first got interested in knife making, and really at the very beginning, I kind of had it in my head that you couldn't really make a decent knife unless you had like tens of thousands of dollars worth of equipment, like the most sophisticated, milling machines and grinders and automated blade sharpeners and, all this crazy stuff, like your own steel mill and just ridiculous ideas like that. I don't know where they came from, but they were there. And I guess maybe I'd seen some of the bigger names, how they made knives with big automated presses and CNCs. And so I got kind of discouraged, or I thought that I would never be able to make one, even though that's something I was always kind of interested in doing. I can actually remember back when I was a little kid, taking some 16-penny nails and a ball peen hammer and just hammering them flat on the concrete of my grandfather's garage floor. And then once I got it into kind of a little mini sword, so to speak, I even filed an edge on it. And I would always take like pieces of metal and try to sharpen them. And, I would even make like the wooden swords and knives and, make pretend. So I think I've always kind of had this sickness. But when I got a little bit older and wanted to make an actual functional knife, there was that level of discouragement initially. Just because I thought, I got to have all this money, all these tools. But after kind of browsing around on, I think it was knife forums or blade forums for a while, which are amazing resources in and of themselves, I kind of learned that you could make knives with really not that much money and not that many tools. And one thing, I did buy a book called The $50 Knife Shop by Wayne Goddard. I recommend that to everyone starting out and making knives. There's just a wealth of information in there. A lot of tips and techniques on making your own tools and even getting a very functional and professional looking knife for really under $50, as the name implies. But I definitely, I started learning a little bit more and getting a little bit more encouraged. And even through that, I think I kind of jumped off the deep end and didn't really even start with the basic stuff. I learned I could build my own knife grinder, figured out how to build my own oven and a few other tools. But really all you need to get started, a lot of guys just start with one of these. It takes a little bit more time and effort, maybe even some more skill. Maybe that and some sandpaper, a hacksaw, an angle grinder. So I just want to encourage you guys, for literally under $50, you can make some really nice knives, and there are dozens of knife makers who exemplify that. Just do a quick search, like in a bushcraft forum or even the knife forums. You see a lot of guys making knives even out of their apartments in the city where they can't even have too many tools. They'll sit there at their kitchen table with some files and sandpaper and just make some awesome knives and do some awesome file work. Another thing that a lot of knife makers kind of get into, which I didn't really, but there's definitely a lot of valuable experience with this. Some guys just take some pre-made knife blanks that are even already beveled and possibly sharpened, and they'll just put a handle on there. And that's another thing. You could easily, order the knife blank on the internet and even go down to Home Depot or your local hardware, get some hardwoods, some epoxy, and you can start putting your own handles on, and that is a phenomenal step up into knife making. I wish I would have maybe started with that, so I'd be making even some better knives now if I knew how to put a nice handle on there. Definitely something I aspire to do in the near future, but That's one way to do it. You can even take an existing knife. I've seen guys take kitchen knives and knock the handles off, whether they're wood or plastic, and just put some phenomenal looking handles on those. You can even do kind of an intermediate step. Get something like this. I made this myself, but you can buy these for even cheaper than the pre-beveled ones. Get some files and sandpaper and finish it up. Put a handle on it. And congratulations, you're a knife maker. I mean, as I say that, I'll definitely tell you guys you do need to disclose whether or not it was made from a kit if you do plan on selling them. I know there's been some controversy with guys in the past who do kind of buy the pre-made knives, do a little bit of work to it, and then maybe put their brand on it or sell it as a completely handmade knife, which is just completely wrong. But we'll try to keep this encouraging. I mean, there's definitely so many ways to get into knife making, super cheap and super quick without even a lot of experience. I mean, just get into it and do it. You might surprise yourself with the results. I know I definitely surprised myself with my first completed knife as to how well I thought it came out. So definitely encourage that. I encourage you guys to maybe get your hands on DVDs. You could probably even rent them through Netflix now. There's a lot of knife makers that put together quality DVDs and how-tos on anything from profiling blades to etching to handle materials to even really complicated stuff like forging. So there's a wealth of knowledge there. I think Center Cross Videos is a name I'm trying to think of. They make a lot of good productions. And even if you can, try to get together with a knife maker. In my experience, knife makers have been some of the most genuine, compassionate guys, real eager to help others who are just starting out, because we've all been there at the beginning trying to figure out what to do. And I would venture to say that no matter where you live, there's probably at least one knife maker within an hour of you at the most. Easily for most people, probably even within half an hour or less. So do some searching. You might be surprised with how many knife makers are in your area. Visit some forums, post a question. I'm sure you'll get a few responses in the least. And while we're on that subject, I do want to take some time out of this video. I only have a couple minutes left. I want to give a shout out to Jeff, Captain Jeff Saylor of CJS Knives. He's a friend of mine. And we haven't known each other for long, but this guy has been very instrumental in kind of getting me started in knife making. Not that I didn't start much longer before I met him, but he's definitely lit the fire under my butt, giving me just a wealth of knowledge that I didn't even have before I met him on various aspects of making, and he's just been such an encouragement. And had I not met him, I highly doubt I would have even been thinking about making knives right now, just because it kind of got put on the back burner when I first started it, as many projects often do. But definitely want to thank him. Encourage anyone else who's watching this to check out his website, cjsknives.com, I believe it is. Guy does some great work. And as far as I'm concerned, he's got some extremely fair prices based on the quality I've seen. Definitely a bit lower than a lot of other knife makers I've seen of similar qualities, or even worse quality for that matter. So phenomenal work. He's got a great website. And, send him an email, strike up a conversation. The guy's definitely eager to help other guys like me out. I really appreciate that, Jeff. So thank you. Definitely running out of time. There's so much more I could say. Maybe I'll make an additional video in the future. But the point of this was just to encourage guys getting into knife making. It's not as hard as you might think, and you might surprise yourself with how little it costs to make a really good knife and how easily you can do it if you put your mind to it. So we're going to call this a video. I'll talk to you guys later.